Okay, we should be live again. I apologize for that. So we've had this before where the game ends up saving, so I think we should be fine. Yeah, we're good. Unfortunately, the jersey combinations that were chosen won't save, so now the Bears are wearing their regular jerseys again. And the Beats are wearing their white away jerseys, but the game stays hating, I guess. I don't know if there were any plays that were missed when the stream crashed, but I don't think you guys really missed a whole lot. The Bears are still driving down the field. They had a 3rd and 1. They changed jerseys mid-game. They all Thanos snapped into new clothes, but it's still snowy, which is good. Banks overthrows his target. What did they do on 4th and 1? They're going to go for it. I mean, I like the aggressiveness. I think he got it. Oh, he didn't! Wow, the Beats with a huge stop. What happened? The Beats just got a stop on 4th down, and then Joe Burrow just did that. That's a pretty good throw. I don't know about you guys, but that's a pretty good throw. And they're going to run it in for a touchdown to make it 24-10. I think that's Dawson Knox. No, it's not. It's Freddie Facker. Simcast time. Not yet. There's still some game to go. The Bears aren't totally out of it. As I was trying to say before, I was so rudely interrupted. Cannot handle the OSU-Michigan championship game. Yeah, if I was you, I'd rather play TCU too, because TCU, I mean, for one thing, they're worse, so you have a better chance of winning. Although, imagine if Ohio State does beat Michigan in the championship, and then you'll have bragging rights for the next year, because Michigan's win in the shoe really isn't going to matter. It shouldn't matter. The ultimate duo, Greg Roman on offense and Matt Patricia also on offense. Why did the Patriots think that was going to work? Second and 11. Incomplete. Yeah, you won the game, but we won the damn war. That's a pretty baller quote. I guess Ohio State would be the national champions because they would have to cross out the N. Or the N. Wrong letter. What? They would have to cross out the M. So they'd be the champions. I personally think Detroit should bring back Matt Patricia. I didn't know we needed a new mascot. I mean, if our mascot blows his knee like the Ravens mascot did, then maybe we could bring him back. I think that role would probably be a little bit better suited for him than, coaching. So, yeah, Matt Patricia stays employed and we still have our mascot. Seems like a win-win. I mean, he practically looks like a lion already with all the hair he has. Just dye it blonde. I don't know, turn your skin blue, and there you go. Matt Patricia, mascot. And yeah, hopefully he doesn't do what the Jags mascot did with the Speedo. I don't think anybody wants to see that. Second and 7. What a stiff arm by James Robinson. Beats defense, try not to sell challenge. The Beats are still in a good spot, though. They're up by 14. Although the Bears are knocking on the doorstep. The Speedo is 100% necessary. Yeah, for anyone who wants to go blind, maybe. Matt Patricia, part-time Lions mascot, part-time member of the Blue Man Group, because he'll be literally blue. Cordell Banks with a good run. They now have it inside the 10 at the 6. This doesn't look good for Toronto. This is good for... The Bears losing is good for Toronto. This is exactly what both you and us need to happen. Can you guys get a dirty hit and destroy Banks' ACL? Yeah, let's get Joe Burrow in here to get a sledgehammer at the end of the game and, like, toss it into Banks' both of his knees. How about that? Speedo Trisha. Jesus. The reason why we lost to the Jags, Greg Roman was staring at the Jags mascot in a Speedo. The Jags mascot probably would have called better plays at the end of the game. Officially on the drop the interim tag from Wilkes. Do most Carolina Panthers fans like Wilkes? I mean, he's done decent considering the circumstances. But he was also pretty dreadful in his 1 year as an actual head coach. But if nothing else, try to keep him in the building. I mean, they have been a respectable team, which is good news for our draft picks. So keep winning, guys. And keep feeding Deontay Foreman. My agenda that I'm pushing is pleased. Can't believe the Ravens lost to Lamar in like the first few minutes, and the Broncos couldn't beat that. I mean, I'm not sure why you're surprised. I mean, it is the Denver Broncos. Can you believe on Christmas we have to watch the Rams play the Broncos? I mean, yuck. Why can't they switch that? I mean, it's an important game for us because of our draft pick, but, like, geez, do they want us to spend time with our families? My lord. How are we doing? I think you guys are like 7-8. You're not currently in the playoffs, but you're also not completely out of it, but you need a lot to happen. Also on the re-signed Deontay Foreman train, I'm happy Carolina Panthers fans are seeing the vision. Because Deontay Foreman is that guy, and he's been that guy since last year when he replaced Derrick Henry. People don't realize how good Deontay Foreman played for the Titans last year. So that's why I kind of jumped on the hype train, and I was, well, very right to do that. What a throw, even though it was out of bounds. Thank God basketball is on. Yeah, really. That's our saving grace. I think the other Christmas games are a little bit better, but they're not that great. Please, like, have a big MLB signing on Christmas. Seems like all the big MLB signings are happening now, though. Good throw, but I don't think that's going to be a first down. Why would the Bears challenge? That might be the stupidest challenge ever. Even if they're right, the difference is a 4th and 11 instead of a 4th and 20. 1, 2. He very clearly got 2 feet in, but even so, why would the Bears challenge that? It's a difference of 10 yards. You're going to get the ball regardless. That is really stupid. Well, they got it right, but that's still really stupid. Even though he definitely got both feet in bounds. That's a bad call by the refs. Are the Bears and refs, like, plotting something? And just for that, karma. What a punt. Down at the 4. The Bears surely regret that challenge now. What a weird chain of events. My J.C. Horn agenda was getting incredibly pleased by Surtain getting toasted by Sam Darnold and DJ Moore and then Devontae Adams this week. Well, the DJ Moore agenda, which has not been going strong recently, appreciates that as well. Who is Johnny Tavai? I don't know who Johnny... I know who Jelani Salami is, but I don't know who Johnny Tavai is. The refs betting on that parlay. And the refs regretted after the Beats had that great punt. The DJ Moore agenda is aging great in the OFL. He, other than Joe Mixon, is probably the offensive player of the year. Grateful the Broncos didn't pick Fields when they had a chance. I remember I laughed at the Broncos for not picking Fields, and I thought Patrick Surtain was great. Nothing against Surtain. I thought he was a great prospect. He's been very good in the NFL. But I thought that was a bad pick at the time, and then a year later, they made me look stupid, and here we are now, and they look stupid again. Not that Justin Fields is, like, proven to be the guy, but in hindsight, that sounds a lot better than this. DJ Moore just needs a quarterback better than some random guy from the rec. I mean, that's probably true, but even so, the leagues that I have DJ Moore in have not done as well this year. But, I mean, that probably is the reason. Sauce Gardner is, in fact, him. You would be correct about that. The Bears have the 3rd and 10. They've pretty much got to score on this drive. So this might be the biggest play of the game. And they get a stop. All right, 4th and 7. The Bears have to go for it, right? Russ in OFL is a 5-star chef. Russ in real life is a middle school. Don't disrespect the lunch lady. Why are they kicking? What are they doing? Who is making these decisions for the Bears? You're down by 7, and you go for a 59-yard field goal in the snow. So first, the Bears challenge a play, which they got right, even though it shouldn't have been right. It was the wrong call. But why would the Bears, first of all, challenge a play that instead of 4th and 11 makes it 4th and 20? And then second of all, whatever the hell that was, down by 7 to kick a 59-yard field goal. You have a better chance of getting a 4th and 7 than making that kick. This game doesn't count. Honestly, I don't blame you for thinking that EA is rigging it, although not that EA would have Bacher at the top of its list to help, but still, this is... Jeez. The Beats deserve to win the game. They've been better, but the Bears have gotten absolutely screwed by Madden. Both can be true. Although I'm not complaining. It helps my team. So I'm good with it. Thank you, EA. So even if EA did not make those horrible decisions for the Bears, there's still a good chance they would have lost. But still, this is bad. Have this on audio only while I stock wine. You got some extra wine for the Bears? I think they could really use it. Take a sip. The Bears are starting to call their timeouts now. The Beats are in field goal range, so they should be fine regardless. As Bijan Robinson gets the first down. Not looking good for Chicago. They call timeout number 2. I don't know why I pressed circle. The game's not over. It's kind of over, but it's not totally over. Can you think of an actual reason why a team would punt on first down? If Victor Wembanyama were to enter the NFL draft and teams started to lose on purpose, I think that would be a valid reason. Greg Roman, big wine lover. So he's cultured, I see. Personally think they should flex the Ravens and Steelers to prime time, and the losers should have to keep their offensive coordinator. Yes, that sounds gold. I think the Steelers are surprisingly favored. So, maybe Greg Roman keeps his job. That would be so funny. Kenny Pickett versus Tyler Huntley to keep your offensive coordinator. You know, both of those offenses are really going to try even harder. Okay, so now this game is over. The Beats can just kneel off the clock. So they're going to pull off a close win against the Bears 24-17. EA completely screwed the Bears. Would the Bears have won had they not gotten screwed over? Probably not, but they still got screwed over. So the Beats are now 13-3. They continue to position themselves to get the number 1 seed. I think if they win this next week, they probably do get the 1 seed. As for the Bears, they fall to 8-8. Next week, they have to win, and they need a few things to go their way. So the Bears are not currently positioned to make the playoffs, but they're also not out of it. What did EA do to the Bears? So they were down by 7 with 2.5 minutes to go on a 4th down, and they kicked a 62-yard field goal. And they also had a really stupid challenge on the last drive, which was a success because EA's moronic, but it was still a really stupid challenge. All right, let's see what happened around the rest of the league in Week 17. If we lose to the Jets, I swear, that'd be pretty embarrassing. Cardinals versus Broncos in Week 15. Winner gets to fire their coach. Loser gets to extend him for 5 years. Oh, that'd be perfect for Denver. They already extended Russell Wilson for 5 years. Might as well keep it going with Hackett. I don't know if I want to look at our game. I'm too concerned. If we lose to the New York Jets, why would we be on the Wizards? I don't know. I guess we're starting from the top with the Aviators. They beat New Orleans. Big win for Columbus. They stay alive in the wild card race, although they still need a lot to go their way. But they're not out of it. And if the Aviators get in the playoffs, as we saw last year, they can beat just about anybody. Karlaftis with 2 sacks. The Bats beat Washington. So with that, it looks like, barring something crazy, the Bats are going to win the NFC East, and they will make the playoffs, despite having Christian McCaffrey on their... Oh, they used him today! 6 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. They finally realized, you know what, we're in Week 17. We might use this guy. He might be pretty good. Can't believe it took 17 weeks. And he still finished 3rd on the team in carries. But good for him, I guess. The Bears lost. The Beats won. The Bison, if they win, they pretty much clinch the division, and they do. Wow, over Dublin. That's big for AFC seeding. So this means if the Ravens win, they clinch the division. And the Bison pretty much clinch the division, too. 2 sacks for Emmett Jackson. The Black Knights, they need to win to stay alive, and they do! They beat the Huskies! Yes! This is good. This is really good for us. So both of these teams are 8-7, I think. No, they'd be 8-8 because we've played 16 games. And London is the head-to-head tiebreaker. So the Black Knights, who have been really bad for most of the year, have a real shot to slip into that 7th seed, depending on if teams like the Vikings and the Rams maybe lose some games. The Broncos beat Seattle. I would hope you'd beat Seattle. Andy Morrison with 3 touchdowns. So the Broncos look like they're probably going to win the AFC West. Unless something crazy happens. I think if Salt Lake City loses, then Denver probably clinches. What a fall from grace. 7-0 to out of the playoffs maybe for Salt Lake City. The Browns beat the Falcons 31-28. This is good. The Falcons are competing for a wild card spot. Thank you, Cleveland. All the teams competing for the wild card spot in the NFC are losing. So this is perfect. That means we're probably going to lose too. But Tommy Tremble in his first game back with nearly 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. As for Cleveland, they're now 9-7, well alive in the wild card race. The Bucks beat the Chiefs in the Ultimate Tank Bowl. I think the Chiefs have 2 wins and the Bucks have 3. So I guess this is kind of important for draft positioning. The Vikings week is going perfectly so far, which is exactly why we're going to lose to the Jets. I can already see it. The Cardinals, what did they win again? Oh, they won! I mean, the Diablos suck, but wow, the Cardinals went 2-2 today with a punter at quarterback. Arizona might not even get the number 1 pick now. So the Falcons lost. Yeah, the Falcons losing means you guys clinched the division regardless. Because I think you were 2 games ahead of them going into the week. So, yeah, that would mean you guys have officially won the South. And I think worst case, you guys are going to get the 2 seed. And even that's unlikely. The Chiefs lost. The Diablos lost. The Dolphins beat New England. Okay. So, for all the teams fighting for a wild card spot in the AFC, this is good for you. New England losing is good. The Dolphins still have a shot now. I think New England's still a game ahead of them, but this certainly adds more chaos in the AFC wildcard race with New England not clinching and the Dolphins still being alive. The Falcons lost. The football team lost. The Niners beat the Rams again. So I think they were tied going into the week. So this means San Francisco's a game ahead of them. I think that means the Niners have won the NFC West. It should, because they have an extra win, and they have the tiebreaker. And then the Rams are yet another wild card team who lost. Every team in the NFC wild card race who we have needed to lose has lost. Really, the game is just trying to give me hope, just for us to lose to the Jets. The Giants, have we seen them yet? They lose to the Wizards. The Wizards had to win, and they do in overtime, 48-42. A duel between Patrick Mahomes and Mac Jones. Jaden Jackson playing very well. So this definitely means the Bats have clinched the NFC East now. Pretty much every NFC division has been clinched. The Niners have, the Panthers have, the Bats have, and who's the other one? The Lions. I think the Lions clinched the North of all of these teams losing. The Huskies, we saw them. Yeah. Yeah, so the Lions have definitely clinched the NFC North now, beating Jacksonville. Shane Arsenio playing really well once again. Kerry McCoy played well. My heart is racing. I don't think I've ever been more nervous to see the result of an OFL game in my entire life. Please do not lose to the Jets. Thank God. We needed overtime, but we did it. Oh, thank the Lord. Hector got hurt again? He's already gotten hurt once this year. Now he gets hurt again. And Jack was fine, I guess. So we'll see what Hector's injury is. But that's not ideal. He's only been back for like 2 weeks. Damn you, Jets, ruining the fun. So I don't know if this means we're in the playoffs now. But we're definitely in a much better position. We might still be like the 8th seed. I'm not sure. The Lions won. The Panthers lost to the Ravens. So the Ravens have clinched the AFC North now that they're 2 games ahead of Dublin. So Baltimore and Brooklyn will be 1 and 2 in the AFC in some order. And then as for Carolina, maybe they won't get the number 1 seed. Now they still have the tiebreaker over Detroit, but I think those 2 teams have the same record. So it's not set. But Carolina should still get the 1 seed with a win if they beat the Falcons. That's not an easy game. Atlanta's competing for a playoff spot. New England lost. The Pioneers lost again. Good Lord. The Pioneers are 1-8 in their last 9 games after starting the year 7-0. And now the Pioneers might not... Wow, Jamison Williams had another 200-yard game. So now the Pioneers are probably not going to make the playoffs, barring a miracle, after starting 7-0. And they were a dominant 7-0, too. Nobody looked like they could beat them. Until they all did, except for Mexico City, who stinks. Now, luckily for Salt Lake City, they play the Cardinals in Week 18. So Salt Lake City is going to be 9-8. I don't know if that's enough to get a playoff spot. The Rams lost. The Ravens won. The Aviators beat New Orleans. We saw that. I think we saw everyone. Yep. You got demolished. I think what are you guys? The Shamrocks. Why did I have a brain fart? You guys are pretty much a lock for the 5 seed, barring something really crazy. Players of the week: C.J. Stroud, Dontavius Brown, Grant Delpit, and Danielle Hunter. That would be hilarious if Arizona won that game. All right, so as we look at the standings, how many teams have clinched? The Lions clinched the division. The Niners clinched the division as well. I don't know why it says they've only clinched a playoff spot. They beat the Rams twice. The Broncos clinch the division, and the Bats clinch the division. So 8 teams have clinched their spots. 6 divisions have already been won. The only ones that have not been won are the NFC West, which technically already has been clinched. And then what, the AFC South? Yep. So the AFC South really is the only division left up for grabs. So really, these races are about seeding and the wild card. So in the AFC, very close race for the top seed with Brooklyn and Baltimore, and then the NFC is in the same boat with with Carolina and Detroit, although I guess the Niners and Bats aren't really out of it either. So going by division, the Ravens have officially won the North. The Shamrocks are in the playoffs. I think the Browns, with a win, are in, and they play the Bucks. So congrats to the Browns, I guess. The Bison are in the... If they win this next game, they win the division. Tigers 9-7. Wizards and Jags a game back. The Beats clinch the division. New England and the Dolphins both still fighting for wild card spots. The Broncos clinch the West. Salt Lake City still fighting for a spot. Their point differential is still nearly 100. Yet they're 500. The Lions clinch the North. The Vikings have passed both Toronto and the Bears. The Panthers have clinched the South. The Bats have clinched the East. The Niners have pretty much clinched the West. So I guess this is the last time we've technically simmed in OFL 22, because all the other games are either simcast games or playoff games. Here is the playoff picture as of now. So the Beats and the Panthers are the 1 seeds, and then these are your wild cards. In the AFC, you've got the Shamrocks, Patriots, and Tigers. The Shamrocks are the 5 seed no matter what happens. They have nothing to play for in Week 18. New England has 9 wins. The Tigers have 9 wins. The Browns are right behind with 9 wins as well. And then you've got the Pioneers with 8, the Aviators, the Wizards, the Jags, and the Dolphins all with 8 wins. That's like 13 teams still alive in the AFC playoffs. I think the only teams that are out are the Chiefs, the Diablos, and the Jets. And everybody else still has a shot. In the NFC, the Falcons, Rams, and Vikings all have 9 wins. None of them have clinched playoff spots yet. And then you've got a few teams of 8. I think the Giants have 8. The Huskies have 8. The Bears have 8. And I think that's it. I think everybody else is out. I'll double check, though. But I think that's the case. London has 8. That's right. And then everybody else is out. So the only teams eliminated are Washington, Seattle, the Bucks, the Cardinals, and then the 3 bottom teams here. So only 7 teams are eliminated. 25 teams still have a shot to win the final OFL Bowl for this year with 1 more week to go. We'll check injuries. We'll take a look at stats and whatnot. And then that'll wrap it up. Tyzee Howard's out for 6 weeks, and Vachan Kodali's out for 5. Oh, no. The Aviators still have quite a few injuries. Breece Hall broke his hand, so we might see that unknown backup of theirs named Christian McCaffrey get some playing time. Man, it sucks for the Bats. They have to play CMC now. James Francis, dislocated ankle for the Cardinals. Yannick Ngakoue, MCL tear. Khalil Lawrence and Deion Jones are both out for the Niners. That's a big deal. I wonder what happened to Hector. Hopefully he'll be okay. J.K. Dobbins, dislocated ankle, and then one of the backups ruptured his disc, and then Hector's fine. Thank goodness. So glad I'm right in the middle of an orgy for these playoff spots. Yeah, this is kind of like the OFL 20 Season 5 playoffs, with like all of these teams fighting for wildcard spots. This is exactly the same, for the most part. Did we check Players of the Week? Yeah, we did. Okay, we'll take a quick look at the awards, and then for everybody who's here, type your team in the chat, and we can go through your team's stats. So in terms of passer rating, Russell Wilson is not in first. Oh my lord, he has 55 touchdowns. So we've got a really close race for MVP. Russell Wilson is definitely no longer a shoo-in. Dan is right in there. He might break the passing touchdowns record. Trey Lance is right in the race. Joe Burrow's right in there. And then I think Joe Mixon. I think that's going to be our 5 in the ballot. Dan, Russ, Lance, Burrow, and Mixon, barring something crazy. And maybe you can make a case for Josh Allen, I think, with how much improved that the Bison have been. Malik Willis has 5,000 yards. My goodness. His team sucks, but 5,000 yards is a whole lot. The touchdown leader is obviously Dan. The interception leader is Malik Willis. Joe Mixon looks like he's going to break the rushing title. Maybe. He needs about 100, which he's on pace for 123 per game. So he has a good shot to break it. I think he has to be in the MVP race. He leads the league in yards per carry among starters, right? Yes. He definitely leads in touchdowns, although Kamara is right on his tail. So I think Joe Mixon has to be in the MVP race. Receiving. Jamison Williams has 117 catches. Jamison Williams and DJ Moore both put up really interesting Offensive Player of the Year cases, as does T. Higgins, honestly. There are a lot of really... Okay, DJ Moore has 21 touchdowns. Good Lord. DJ Moore and Joe Mixon is going to be a generational race for the Offensive Player of the Year. 21 receiving touchdowns. Is that a record? No, Jerry Rice had to have had more in a year. Although, wait, no, Randy Moss has the record. Doesn't he? Doesn't Randy Moss have the record? I think so. Knox has been the best tight end in the NFL. That's actually been Travis Kelce. In the OFL, maybe it's been Dawson Knox. Jalen Reagor, 12 touchdowns. What a guy. Who's allowed the most sacks? Jordan Mailata with 21. And then Jackson Carman, Viking legend, is one of 2 full-time starters to not allow a sack, the other being Austin Corbett. I feel like we had Austin Corbett on our team, too. Did we not? No, we did not. He was picked by Atlanta. Okay, I don't know why I thought that. Defensively. Could anyone break the sack record? Nick Bosa has 20, so probably not, but it's not impossible. Interceptions, Jalen Johnson with 6. Will Anderson with 4 forced fumbles, 3 recoveries to go with 14.5 sacks. That looks like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, for sure. How about the NFC? 20 TFLs for Tyler Davis and Tevin Conrad. Kenny Clark and Myles Garrett each have 19.5 sacks. Interceptions, 5 for Ojemudia and Diggs. There's Sosa on the beat with 4. Cameron Curl also with 4. Cam Curl might be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He's been so good all year for us. How many perfect kickers do we have? Jason Sanders, J.J. Glanville, and that is it, because Jack Fox missed 4 How do you miss 4? Jack, what are you doing, buddy? He's the worst extra point kicker in the league. Come on, Jack. All right, let's see how many teams want to see their stats. First one I see is the Browns. Brendan Bethel, 19 sacks. Jeesh. No wonder he got benched. After the Browns, I see the Beats. Don't have to move too far. They have 3,000-yard receivers. Alex Morton is so... Is he X Factor? Was he number 9? He's 89. What dev is he? He's a superstar. Well, he sure plays like one. And he's only 20. What a stud. What a stud. Brzee, 12.5 sacks, and then Viking legend A.J. Terrell with 5 interceptions. After that, I see the Broncos. Andy Morrison's having a pretty good year. After that, I see the Bison. We've had 4 teams, and they all start with B. De'Ami Brown with exactly 1,000 yards. Ricky Weatherford, 18.5 sacks allowed. But on the flip side, Kayvon Thibodeau, 17.5. And then Jalen Johnson leads the lead in picks with 6. The Ravens, finally a team who does not start with B. Although I guess Baltimore starts with a B. We've got Dan, who's probably going to break the touchdown record. He does have 14 interceptions, though. Does he deserve to win MVP? And he also has DJ Moore, who is having one of the greatest receiver seasons I think we've ever seen in OFL history. 14.5. Wow, holy hell. They have 4 guys with at least 11.5 sacks, and then a big drop to 1.5. The Niners of San Francisco. After that, we've got me, the Dolphins. They could have 3,000-yard receivers, maybe 4 if Kyle Pitts pops off. Nick Bosa, 20 sacks, might be the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. Shamrocks, and that fits with Scuda because Scuda plays for the Shamrocks. So that's convenient. Wait, no, Scuda's on the Ravens. Why did I think he was still on the Shamrocks? He plays for the Ravens now, doesn't he? I think so. Keon Johnson, 15 sacks, looking like a real number 1 pick. Yeah, Scuda's on the Ravens. 70 tackles, 3 for a loss, half a sack, an interception. Not bad. Jaguars, and then I think that's the last one, although we'll do our team too. What's Derrick Henry's deal? Oh, is he back now? So what, he just missed a couple games and now he's back healthy? Okay, so he got hurt in Week 14. He's missed the last 3, but he is healthy for Week 18, although his replacement, Chuba Hubbard, did not do too bad. UNLV has Coach O on their short list. We need it. UNLV, the people want to see it. And then the Vikings. Hector quietly has been better than I think we've all realized. He hasn't been an MVP candidate, but 104 passer rating is pretty good. Rashad Bateman's our leading receiver. Wow, he's probably going to be our only 1,000-yard receiver. Very balanced. I like it. Although Bateman's maybe not the guy I would have expected at the top, but it's fine. All right, let's take a look at what Madden thinks the awards should be. They have Russell Wilson still winning the MVP. I think they had the top 4 right. I would put Joe Mixon ahead of Mac Jones, especially because Mac Jones' team probably won't make the playoffs, although Joe Mixon's team probably won't either. AJ Terrell's in 3rd because of course he is. And then in the NFC, was that Najee in 3rd? Nice. They have Shaq Barrett as the Defensive Player of the Year. Okay, that's a weird one. Najee best running back. Nice. Darnell Mooney over T. Higgins and Jimmy Jackson. That's kind of a weird one. Cameron Curl, best DB. And then Jack Fox, best kicker. All right, let's take a look at the schedule for Week 18, and then that'll pretty much wrap it up. Diablos Beats. If the Beats win, they probably get the 1 seed. So in other words, the Beats are probably getting the 1 seed. Bats and Giants. Bats are playing for seeding. Giants are playing for a wild card spot. Ravens, if they win, maybe they get the 1 seed. Denver also playing for seeding. They'll be either 3 or 4. Tigers and Jags, both teams playing for a playoff spot. Lions are playing for seeding. Pats are playing for a playoff spot. Both teams playing for a playoff spot. Browns are playing for a playoff spot. Dublin, this game's not important because Dublin's already locked up the 5 seed. That's the only thing that's set in stone. Dublin is getting the 5 seed. Vikings, Bears. Vikings, if they win, they're in. If the Bears win, then they probably pass the Vikings and get in. So, yeah, because the Bears beat us earlier in the year. So the winner of this game probably gets in. I don't think I'll be able to handle that. The Pioneers need to win to stay alive. Rams are playing for a wild card spot. London's playing for a wild card. Atlanta's playing for a wild card. Panthers playing for seeding. The Bison, with a win, they clinched the division. The Niners are playing for seeding. And both of these teams need a lot to happen to get a playoff spot, but I guess it is possible. And it's an AFC championship rematch, or AFC divisional round. So I think that covers it. We've gone through the schedule, stats, injuries, standings, all that. So I think that'll wrap up the stream. Next time we've got week 18. We're gonna finally see what happens here with the playoffs. We've got 25 teams still alive. That's a lot. So should be a lot of fun. That'll probably be later in the week. I don't know exactly when, but yeah. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Why am I doing my normal outro? Make sure to like and get ready for the next stream. I'm so used to doing my normal outro. That's what I did there.